you a little outline of what I'm going to be doing. So, obviously, preaching. But, so first I'm going to explain the verse, because when I first read this verse, I had no idea what it was talking about. But as I, actually looked into it and thought about it and prayed about it, I really started to understand what Jesus was talking about here. And it goes actually a lot deeper than you'd think. So, John 19:26 and 27. So it says, "Now there stood by the cross of Jesus his mother. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing by, he said to his mother, 'Woman, behold your son.' Then he said to the disciple, 'Behold your mother.' And from that hour the disciple took her into his own home." Amen. So the first point here is that he was paying attention to the people around him and not to himself. Because, a lot of times when we're struggling with something or when we're dealing with something, we're worried about how bad it is for us and how much pain we're in. But we're not worried about how what we did or what happened to us may be affecting other people. So, as Jesus was on the cross, with nails in his hands and feet, on a piece of wood, stuck in the ground, with no clothes, he was worried about his mom. And there's no other word that I can think to describe his pain than excruciating. Because excruciating, the word actually comes from crucifixion. So, excruciating pain is the pain that he was in. It wasn't bad, it wasn't hard, it was excruciating. It's pain that we can't even imagine to this day. So, whenever we think about how bad what we're going through is, we got to think about what Jesus was going through.
That's right.
So, he was paying attention to the people around him, and he was in agony, and he was worried about his mom, because in his mindset, he's like, yeah, I'm about to die, but what's my mom going to do? I mean, I'm all she has. Yeah, I have brothers, but they're not really there for her. So I have to help her. What is she going to do? So, the next thing is that it says, the disciple whom he loved. Now, not to misunderstand this, it does not mean that he only loved this disciple, which was John, and it does not mean that he loved John more than anyone else. What it means is that it explains why he trusted John to take care of his mother. Because none of the other disciples were there. Right? So as we previously established, the other disciples were scared, so they were not there. So John was there. So why, if John was there, why would he put Peter to take care of his mom? So he's not only thinking about his mother and anyone he can put his mother in the care of. He's thinking of who does he trust enough and who does he love enough to put in charge of his mother. So he trusted John because John was there and John was faithful. John was obedient. So in this passage here, it doesn't say that John was like, oh, no, I'm okay. I don't really want a mother. No, he didn't say anything like that, but he trusted John because John was ready, and John believed, and John trusted in Jesus, and he obeyed.
That's right.
He didn't ask any questions. He didn't say, well, no buts. He obeyed. No questions asked.
Come on now.
So, the next part that you definitely noticed is that he called his mother woman. Not mother, not mom, not mommy, not mama, nothing else. Woman. So, this is not because he was trying to be rude. This is not because he was having an attitude. This is because he was trying to spare her from further pain. Because if you're a parent, and I'm sure there's parents here, if you're a parent and you have your child on a cross with nails in their body and a crown of thorns on their head, just imagine that. Would you want them to look down on you and say, Mommy, or Daddy, help me? No, right? Because that's just going to make it that much harder for you. That's just going to be like stabbing you with a knife in the heart. So, he was trying to save his mom from suffering even more than she already was because she was watching him die, knowing that she couldn't do anything to help it because it was his destiny. So, he was trying to save her from
Amen.
more suffering
Yes.
by addressing her as not his mother,
Amen.
but as a woman.
Yes.
So then he says to John, this is your mother, right? So behold your mother. This is not meant to be literal whatsoever, but it's showing his trust in John and how much he cared for John and how much he believed that John could take care of his mother. Because if you put yourself in Jesus' place, I mean, you're like the Son of God. So you're not just going to give your mother to anyone. You're going to want to put her in the care of someone who you really trust and who you really believe can take care of her. So that's why he picked John. And then the next part is that, and from that hour, he took her into his home. Is there anything specific you might notice in that part? And from that hour, he didn't wait. He didn't say, oh, well, when? Do you want me to leave right now? Because, I think it, no. And from that hour, so he got a command, and he obeyed it. Immediately. I can just imagine that when Jesus says that to John, John goes over and just embraces Mary. Because it wasn't a question. It wasn't, oh, hey, John, do you want to maybe take care of my mom? Because, I'm kind of dying, so I can't really do that. But no. He said, this is your mother, and this is your son.
That's right.
And they both obeyed. So, sometimes we need to think about that. Because sometimes God or Jesus tells us something to do, and we're like, well, I'm kind of busy tonight. I don't really want to go to church. I'm really tired, long day at work. He was on the cross, okay? Don't just not forget that.
Amen.
So, no matter how many excuses we like to come up with to
That's right.
avoid Jesus, or avoid what he did for us, or avoid whatever he tells us to do, we need to not do that, and we need to obey him immediately.
That's right.
Because that's what we do when we have faith. So, now, so that was explaining it. So maybe I hope that helps you understand it a little bit better. So now, as I actually put it here, now we're going to get into the meat section. So this is the part where I talk about how it goes deeper than you think. So in this passage, which is about 3 sentences,